And so it is that one of the most thrilling ABSA Premiership title races in recent memory has reached fever pitch. And with just 3 matches to go, a single misstep by either log leaders, Bidvest Wits, or African champions and defending title holders Mamelodi Sundowns could cost either the championship. But it's not just at the top, it's also in the middle. And at the bottom of the table that the uncertainties abound. Joining me last night to talk more about this was Thabiso Mosia, multiple award-winning sports journalist and presenter. Let's have a listen.
And as you're saying, you know, the heat is on, it's the business end of the season, and you could feel that in Orlando this afternoon. I mean, we've been there throughout the season, but for some reason this afternoon there was a certain spark just around the stadium. Even outside, there was a certain buzz inside the stadium, you know, especially when Sundowns scored. I mean, the Sundowns fans were actually screaming louder than the Pirates fans, and you thought that they were the home team in Orlando for a change. So you can tell that their expectations, and the Sundowns fans are expecting something, and they want to push their team right up until the end.
And whichever way you look at it, this is going to be an exciting end to the season.
Yes, I think that's how most people would like it, except for the journalists, of course, who will have to be busy on the last day of the season, probably deciding, and the PSL trying to figure out where to take the trophy. But, I mean, that's how you'd like it in every single season. You want it to go down to the wire. You know, there have been some dominant performances over the past seasons where the league has been finished quite early. And this time around, it looks like it will go down to the wire, and there's still a lot to play for, even though there are just 3 games remaining.
But with that said, it really is advantage Wits, isn't it?
Well, they've got the title to lose, basically, because if they win all their matches, then they'll win the title. They're leading by 3 points. There are 3 games left, and they've got matches against, they've got Highlands Park, they've got Free State Stars, and I think they've got Polokwane City coming up also. Yes. So, I mean, if they win all 3 of their matches, then they're home and dry.
Now, with that said, I mean, Wits have been like literally there and thereabouts, topping the log pretty much since the beginning of this particular year. And like you say, it's for them to lose it. Now, is there anything that you see in their makeup and the fact that they've had like 8 straight weeks of just playing that could make them lose it?
Well, I was at the stadium this week after they beat Pirates, also even the game against Sundowns, and Coach Kevin Hunt has been stressing one thing, that is actually running out of players, that they're a bit thin now. They got a lot of injuries that have affected their team. You see Nazir Ali, who's been one of their best players this season, is out. But having said that, you've got the likes of Ree Forsler coming in, and he's been really, really sensational at right back. The young under-19 boy is going to the World Cup now with the under-20s. And the good thing about Bidvest Wits this season is that they have a really, really solid bench. You know, you can see in the beginning of the season, the likes of Xola Mlambo and Thabang Monare were holding that central midfield. After that, now Ntshangase has come back, Ben Mutswari has come back. They're playing their beat. Grenell Scott also, when he joined them mid-season, he also played his part. You know, they've got Mongani Khumalo, who can cover for Rebusam Kwanazi, who's not there. Kadbet Malajela, they can still afford to keep him on the bench sometimes. He's coming in when it matters now. Ngele is also coming in when it matters. So I think they've always had the squad here to fight up until the end.
Well, that's actually very interesting, because we're just having a quick look-see at what happened with that match against Mamelodi Sundowns. Did Sundowns blow it?
I think it's a tough one. I think that they're going on a run of 5 straight wins. They didn't concede at all. And then obviously they lost against Wits. They dropped points against Platinum Stars. But I think we have to give credit to this Sundowns team. They've been playing for a very long time now. I think 18 months. I think they've played over 50 matches. Coach Pitso was counting the other day, how many games they've played. I mean, for them to still be fighting at this stage of the season, for the legs to still be there, you must also give credit to their doctors and their medical staff, you know, the guys that are doing some fantastic work there behind the scenes. You don't see a lot of them pulling up with cramps. You don't see a lot of them getting injured, even though they've got so much football that they're playing. So they're still in the groups. They're in the group stages of the Champions League, and they're still fighting here on the league front. So I think regardless of what happens this season with Mamelodi Sundowns, whether they defend their title or whether they finish 2nd or even 3rd, I think a lot of credit must go to that whole team at Sundowns for just fighting up until the end with all the football that they've had to play.
No, I think well said. But I think a lot's been said about this match that they played against Orlando Pirates today, because Wits played against them and won, but the head-to-head between Wits and Sundowns went literally to the wire. It was literally a 1-0, almost worth 6 points, because Wits ended up winning that one and then going into the lead in the championship race. What's to be said about how key these results against Orlando Pirates were?
Well, at this stage of the season, 1-0 is all that counts. You just have to get the points, regardless of how you win it, whether it's by good performance or not, you know, that's how you get the points. And it seems like that's how Wits got the points this afternoon. I was at the Orlando Stadium, so I didn't get to see much of that game, except the bit that we were seeing on our screens there at the stadium. But Gavin Hunt did admit after the match that they didn't play well. And for me, I think the true test for Bidvest Wits will probably come against Free State Stars when they go to Global Park, because that has been their bogey team over the seasons, over the years. I think they've only won twice there in the last 13 visits. They've even won in their last 5 visits at Global Park. This is the same team that knocked them out of the Telkom knockout in October last year. So I think for me, that will be the tough match for Bidvest Wits. I expected them to beat Pirates, expected them to get the points against Maritzburg United, but let's see what happens at Free State Stars. And Chiefs could be the party spoilers also last game of the season, so it's far from over.
No, very interesting take that you've given us there. Let's talk a little bit about the top 8 and where Orlando Pirates sits. And with that said, I'd really like to have a look at the log standings of the top 8 in the PSL. And that will actually speak a lot to what we're talking about here. You say Kaizer Chiefs could come in and spoil the party. They still do have a mathematical chance of getting in there with it. But having said that, what do you make of what we're looking at here in the top 8?
Well, what we make, I think that Chiefs won't win a trophy again for the second time this season, because for the second time in a row, rather, under Steve Compella's second season, because if you look at the points table, they have no chance now of winning the title. Technically, there are 3 teams still in it: Cape Town City, Sundowns, and Bidvest Wits. We've already spoken about that. But let's give credit, though, to the teams lying in 6th and 7th position there. Polokwane City under Luke Amol, you know, it's the first time that they've been this high in the league. I mean, they were as high as 4th at some point this season, and I think they've really played well, played good football, and still managed to keep a top 8 position. Also, Maritzburg United there, having lost Roger Desar, but Fadlu Davids has come in. He's been there for a while, and I think it's not rocket science that he should get the job next season. I don't think Maritzburg United should look beyond Fadlu Davids, especially with the work that is done recently. And how about Cape Town, who were dead and buried at some stage? They were fighting relegation. They made the coaching change. Stanley Menzo came in, struggled a little bit, but it looks like now he's got them up where they belong, where they should be, and they've promised the coach that they're going to win their last couple of matches. They want to cement their place in the top 8. But obviously, there is one team missing.
Jonavret and his team, Orlando Pirates, were sitting in 10th position. If you look at the bottom half of the log, a lot of people were hoping that Jonavret would actually maybe at least secure a top 8 position. Yes, there's still some games to play, but it looks very tight now for Pirates.
I think it was a lot to ask for a new man. It was a tough task for him. He's never been in South African football, African football before. For him to join a team mid-season, a team that was already struggling, a team that had come off 2-6, conceding 6 goals, 6-1 and 6-0, you know. Yeah. It was always going to be tough for Shell Jonafret. But having said that, though, you would have thought that by now you would have gotten an idea of what he's trying to do with this team. You know, he did say he's going to work on the defense and then work on the team going forward. But really, you're still not able to see what he's doing at the moment. And I think Pirates relied a lot on Tendai Ndoro in the first half of the season. He's got a lot of goals for that team. And you actually forgot that the other guys were not coming to the party. And now that he's not scoring those goals, Tendai Ndoro, the goals are very hard to come by. So it's been a difficult season for Orlando Pirates, and the coaching changes definitely did not help.
No, I can imagine not. Now, before I let you go, Thabiso, we cannot not talk about how Baroka FC and Highlands Park have struggled in their first season, Highlands Park and Baroka, in the first season in elite football. It seems like they've actually propped up this log since just before the Christmas break, and that's where they still sit.
It's always a tough one for the teams that are coming up for the NFD. It's also a tough one for the team that has to go play in the playoffs, because after those playoffs, you don't have much time to basically prepare for the season ahead. You must hit the ground running, you know. Highlands Park also have themselves to blame. They fired Alan Fries after just 5 games in charge, which really did not make sense. They brought in Gordon Ingerson. He brought his own players, also couldn't do anything with the team. And good luck to Les Grobler now in the last 3 games of the season, but it's going to be a tough task for them. I think by the time they play Sundowns in the last game of the season, they'll probably be gone. Baroka also, too many coaching changes in one season, a lot of drama. A lot was said also in the beginning of the season, and they should have learned from Chippa when he once came up from the NFD and he said he's going to win the league. It never, unfortunately, happens like that. But they still have a great chance of getting out of it. If you look at where Chippa United is at the moment, if you look at where Free State Stars is at the moment, and Baroka have the advantage of having played 1 game less than the 2 sides above them, you know, but they still have Sundowns coming up, so that'll be a tough one for them. So I guess even at the bottom, that's how you would like it. It's going to also go down to the wire here. Highlands Park, it's really going to be tough for them, especially now with Les Grobler being in charge. But there is a chance of making the playoffs and trying to survive in those playoffs, regardless of how we feel about that system. But there's always a chance, I guess, in the ABSA Premiership for even the team that finishes number 15 and didn't do well the whole season.